It's December 6th, 2018, on a cold morning. A young, self-proclaimed gamer wakes up with high hopes. Today is the day. Today is the Fortnite season. Chapter 1, Season 7 to be exact. With little regard for the consequences, they decide to pretend to be sick and skip the boring routine of school that Thursday morning. They eagerly turn on their barely functioning PlayStation 4 and download the new Fortnite update. Logging in, they expect the usual, but something particular catches their eye. Something unexpected. On the mode selection screen, they see it. Fortnite Creative. If you haven't guessed by now, that gamer was me. Many people never got to experience the excitement and nostalgia of those early days. It was time of boundless creativity, time I often wish I could revisit, though knowing it wouldn't be the same. I want to tell you guys a story that's dear to me and many other people out there. This is the story of the rise, the fall, and the future of Fortnite Creative.
Fortnite Creative is a brand new mode, where everyone will be given their own private island, where you can design your own games and build whatever you want with your friends. Now, this is a real labor of love for us. We are all passionate game designers, and we think everyone is a game designer. And our goal is to let you build your own Fortnite.
Not many people can say they were there, but if you were, you know what I mean when I say that magic, the fun, the boogie mess that was Fortnite Creative in its infancy. I know people may want to correct me for this. Fortnite Creative was technically announced a few days beforehand, if you count the leaks. Yeah, let's just ignore that. You've never seen much like it. Sure, there have been custom map creators in many games before, Little Big Planet or Far Cry or Tony Hawk's Underground 2, but nothing with this amount of direct user feedback. It was honestly some of the best fun I've ever had, just making random stuff with my friends. Fortnite's creativity at this stage felt limitless. But it was very limited in comparison to what we have now, don't get me wrong. But funnily enough, even with the most limited toolset in the entire history of Fortnite Creative back then, I'm looking at you on the memory, it seemed to spawn more creativity than anything else in the coming years. I remember players constructing giant dragon statues, Godzilla, and even one-to-one creations of CSGO maps. These early creations were really a testament to the community's ingenuity and passion for the game all those years ago. I remember entire sub-communities forming for the music blocks they added. A lot of people started recreating really popular songs at the time, like the Crowd Dance and the funny Undertale Sand song, and a bunch of other stuff like that. Other people started making like mini versions of the Battle Royale island, and other people were off doing their own thing. It was those early days where you could really feel the magic of Fortnite Creative and what you could do with it. But all this stuff I just listed off, but most likely you'll never ever see any of this today. It was those early days that were just special, you know? Those were the days. If you were there, you know what I mean. Back then, I'm sure you all remember this. Almost every Fortnite YouTuber, streamer out there was screwing around inside Fortnite Creative and trying to do a bunch of wacky stuff. Crazy challenges, exploiting all the bugs. It was just plain fun. I remember back then, everybody was making death runs. Scissors was doing his thing with all his death runs. That was like one of the main reasons why Fortnite Creative became as big as it is today. Without death runs, we would be nowhere. Anyways. Eventually, Epic Games decided to add one of the best features, but also one of the most controversial features to Fortnite Creative: the block. Okay, I'm not getting into why the block doesn't exist anymore. There's a great video by Jackass going over all of that. It's a bit complicated, so I'm not getting into it. But nevertheless, this was a cool way of showing off some custom POIs that creators made that brought the community even more together. Though some things went overlooked, which have eventually led to some pretty terrible controversies, like I mentioned, but I still kind of wish it still exists to this day. When the block was eventually removed at the start of Chapter 2, a new thing was added to fill that hole. Creator-made hubs. It wasn't as crazy as the block, but it was nice. If you didn't know, when you load into Fortnite Creative, you get it put into a hub. But eventually, Epic decided to make it so you can create and submit your own creator-made hub with a chance for them to be added to the game. And anyone who loads into Fortnite Creative that week will see a new custom HUD created by a lucky person. It was a really cool way to involve the creative community in making content for the actual game. Now, I forgot to mention one important thing, something that's still controversial to this day: island publishing. Now, you'd think that publishing a Fortnite Creative creative island so the world can play it would be easy, right? Just click a button. Oh wait, never mind. You need to, for some reason, be part of the support a creator program. You also need to be over 18 and have over 1,000 followers on any suitable social media for some reason. This didn't really go down that well. This requirement felt like a brick wall, especially for those of us who were passionate about creating but didn't meet the criteria. I was one of those creators. The excitement of crafting elaborate maps and game modes quickly turned to frustration. But we had a good community back then, which didn't really hinge on the success of maps player-wise, unlike now, but more on the friendships of creators just enjoying playing their islands with others. Of course, nowadays, it's still, it's not bad today. It's just like, it's more of a stigma around player accounts these days. Back then, you wouldn't ask anybody what your CCU was or how much you make in like a year. You know what I mean? It was a lot more pure, But there was something on the horizon. Something that gave hope to everybody. Something that everybody could look forward to. Fortnite Creative 2.0. At the end of 2020, in an Unreal stream, Epic announced the Unreal Editor for Fortnite, or UEFN for short. At that time, it was known only colloquially as Creative 2.0. In this stream, Tim Sweeney himself, that's a name you gotta remember for later, he revealed how it works and all whatever you're seeing now. All the different things you can do, the live session editing. You can edit with your friends across platforms and stuff like that. It looked amazing. Of course, everybody was hyped. With all these new tools probably about a year out, it looked like Fortnite Creative was finally evolving into what it should have always been. Something better. Right? The year is 2021. Fortnite Creative has matured a lot since where we started. Now, eventually later in Season 7 of Chapter 2, after a lot of really good updates, Epic added the first real sign of what really was to come for the Fortnite Creative and the entire gaming industry as a whole. It was called Discovery. Now, contrary to nowadays where you make millions, back then the only real way to make money from creating in Fortnite was through supporting a creator and people using your code when they purchase stuff in the item shop or the battle pass. One of the easiest ways to get people to use your code was adding one device to your map. One device that caused way more problems to Fortnite Creative as a whole than any other device ever made. The support a creator button. If you know, you know. This device was the bane of Fortnite Creative. It became a tool to exploit children gullibility into making money. This combined with Discovery would lead to the next era of Fortnite creativity, or the lack thereof. You go into Discovery and you see this. Oh my god. And this. Something was obviously not right. Maps that clearly were breaking the rules were getting through. During this time, Fortnite creative community saw an influx of maps and creations that blatantly used copyrighted IPs without permission. While these maps attracted significant attention and players, they posed legal risks and ethical concerns. And Epic Games also seemed like they just gave up trying to even bother controlling all of this chaos, leading to more and more of the same thing. The widespread use of copyright IPs not only led to a really bad luck for Fortnite Creative, but also stifled genuine creativity. Many creators, fearing their work might be overshadowed by these maps, felt discouraged from innovating and experimenting with original ideas, because in the end, what was the point putting all that time and effort into a system that you'll just lose in anyways? If you can't beat them, join them. This also led to another problem, which is copy and pasting the same map over and over again. People eventually realized you are rewarded the same, if not more, if you create the same red versus blue, box fight, etc. map and copy and paste that into oblivion. As the Discovery systems, they were incredibly flawed, and they were extremely easy to exploit to your own will. There was a noticeable decline in the quality and innovation of new content you'd see on Discovery. Many creators who once brought a fresh and exciting ideas to the platform became disillusioned. The lack of update, the increasing amount of bugs, and the terrible discovery systems in place, which promoted uncreativity and low effort maps. The creative droughts led to stagnation, and it made everything feel boring and repetitive. Even though there was still hundreds of passionate and creative people out there making map, they were overshadowed by all of this. And also, the updates to Fortnite Creative also didn't really help either. Why? Because there was barely anything, and when there was an update, everything would break. As we all know, right now, Epic was working on UEFN in the background. But at the time, there was barely any content being added to the regular Fortnite Creative, besides maybe a device once in a blue moon or a gallery or two. The content drought worsened over time. The excitement that once filled the community was replaced with a growing sense of frustration and disappointment. The creativity that had once defined the early stages of Fortnite Creative seemed like a distant memory. It also seemed like the community finally hit that ceiling of what was possible with the 1.0 toolset. Fortnite Creative fell into a dark period of stagnation. However, there was still a glimmer of hope on the horizon. The announcement that UEFN would be released by the end of the year 2021 brought some optimism. Many believed, including me, that the release of these events tools would change everything for the better, reigniting that spark of creativity and innovation within the community. But then, nothing. The entire community was left in the dark. No news on this elusive Creative 2.0. As 2021 wrapped up and over into 2022, the content drought for Fortnite Creative got even worse. Though some devices were cool, like the prop manipulator and the prop mover and all them, all the problems that Fortnite Creative already had were getting worse. It was getting so bad, and Epic weren't doing nothing, that a lot of Fortnite creators out there finally broke and stopped creating at all. However, many stayed strong, hoping that around the corner, we'd finally have our saving grace. Then it happened. The founder of Epic Games, Tim Sweeney, publicly announced that UEFN will be coming by the end of 2022. And then December rolls around. Tim Sweeney goes onto a live stream to show off Creative 2.0, and this is what happened.
And the other really exciting thing that's happening with Fortnite is we're bringing the Unreal Editor to Fortnite together with the scripting language. Now, we'd hope to show that here, but it's not working today, unfortunately. It was working yesterday, but it's not working today. It's kind of like having bad weather.
Yeah. We got nothing. Then in January came by, and still, after most of this time, nothing. We got like a few leaks, that was it. I mean, I say a few, but there was quite a lot of leaks. Hope was seemingly lost. But then, it was officially announced that UEFN would be released on March 22nd, 2023. And just the day before, there will be a State of Unreal showing off these new tools. Now, when that fateful day swung around, people had very high expectations, and they were met.
What? Bro! Interesting. That's very fucking wild.
This is Fortnite?
The release of UEFN was one of the biggest, most popular stories out there. Everyone, and I mean everyone, had their eyes on Fortnite. More specifically, Fortnite Creative for the first time in years. But it wasn't the new features or the tools or something like that. It was mostly one big thing: the Creator Economy 2.0. Gone were the days of the supported creative button. The new way was a 40% revenue share to creators based on their island playtime, retention, and a few other factors. Of course, Epic does take their share in this ecosystem. They're currently taking up about 60%. So in reality, creators are getting more than 16% of the net revenue for the game, which is a bit scummy, but it's still gazillions of dollars, so I don't think many people care. And that number could possibly change in the future if creator made games top even the quality of Epic's modes in the future, which I'll get into later. There was also the introduction of the verse programming language, a unique language to UEFN that you could use to make your own custom mechanic or what have you, though it was a bit limited at the beginning. Plus also all the new features you could do with UEFN, like terrain editing, cinematic sequences, custom materials, and live sessions where you can edit in-game and also in the editor at the same time. Stuff like that was really amazing. Fortnite Creative seemingly entered a renaissance. People were finally going to begin creating things never even seen before. Just look at this. With more eyes than ever, let's just say Epic Games made a big promise that they had to deliver. But as you know, this part of the video is called the fall, so I'm sure you probably can guess how that went. Okay, it's quite a lot of stuff to list off here, so let me get started. If you didn't know, some creators got early access to UEFN in beta for about 6 months or so before the launch, so they could have time to develop games for the launch. Some of these creators went and created OG Island remakes. 2 of these are Reboot Royale and Atlas OG Battle Royale. Now, safe to say, people were extremely excited, as would anyone, but there were 2 major problems. A. UEFN was released but it was still in beta. And there were so many damn bugs, and memory was still a limit despite many people believing it would be deleted. So you couldn't make anything impressive as the engine would just explode. And issue B, Epic Games directly said that any recreations of Battle Royale are unable to be monetized. And any recreations of anything other than Chapter 1 would just be smited down by the gods. Now, if you spend 6 months or whatever, I don't know how long it was, but creating a huge island, expecting it to be a good business venture, just for it to not give you any money, and for everybody to play it, and find out it's a buggy mess, and then promise to fix all the bugs, just to never even do that because, you know, you can't fix it because it's Epic who needs to really do that. You can probably see why OG remakes were abandoned in a week or two. Never to be heard of again. Another problem that arose was the splitting of a lot of the player base, more specifically between the PC and console creators. As console creators were under the impression that UEFN was going to be available, or at least in limited form, on consoles. It was never the case, as it was never going to come to consoles in the first place, as realistically speaking, Epic would need to rebuild the entirety of UEFN that they just spent years creating for PC, plus make all the hundreds of UIs work for controller, or at least a plugged-in keyboard and mouse, and also make it so custom models could be made / imported. It was safe to say it wasn't going to happen anytime soon, if not ever. And of course, these console creators felt cheated, even if the information was wrong. I was one of those players. It was only until UEFN was announced that I had to fork out some dough and get a good enough laptop to run the engine. Safe to say, console creators were left with the scraps of updates that were added to Legacy Creative 1.0. It felt kind of unfair. Same with creators who didn't know how to use the Unreal Engine or didn't even want to learn it. They felt forced to adapt to this new situation, and it's extremely overwhelming just how much you could actually do that they felt left behind. I'm not one of these creators, but I know there's a lot of creators out there who feel this way, which I get. As time went on, people began to notice something. Where were any of the good maps? You know, as in the what Epic promised. The future is here, you know? All those experiences that were in the fancy trailer, besides them and a small few exceptions, there was really no change at all. And even worse, this Creator Economy 2.0 seemed to make Fortnite Creative and the overall ecosystem better in some ways, and worse in a lot more ways. Now, when UEFN was released and the ecosystem shifted to playtime and retention, everyone was under the impression to be able to make more money from creating unique and engaging experiences. All those previous bad eggs, Fortnite creative community, would be dismayed from creating due to this change. If anything, it got worse. Fortnite Creative went from a fun gimmick mode to a platform where you can make cha-ching, cha-ching, if you know what I mean. And that attracted a lot of new people to the space, including even more bad actors than ever before. There became a rise of even more brain rot maps, and soon AI generation was incorporated to further automate the copy and paste process. I put all that time and effort into designing your own cover art, you know, being creative in Fortnite Creative, you can just generate a few in 5 minutes and pick the best one. Same goes for creative maps too. Why spend months creating a masterpiece when you could just copy whatever other people are making, spend 5 minutes on it, and be rewarded the same, if not more, for it? Very bad moderation problems arose. Soon came questionable maps that completely broke the rules that slipped by the auto moderation system, which was also run by AI. So as you know, AI isn't perfect. So a lot of these maps can be falsely flagged, and others can be falsely approved, resulting in all of this. Another tactic was copying and pasting the same map over and over again, publishing hundreds if not thousands of the same map. That actually happened, by the way. And Epic have gone out and said that they don't even see what's coming into the ecosystem. They only see it once it's already out, and has made, you know, $30,000 in a day, 20,000 concurrent players. Really, at the center, all of these problems was Discovery. And Discovery's whole algorithm was one of, if not easiest things to exploit for that cha-ching. Now, as I said before, let me just explain why Discovery is very bad and very quickly. I'll just play this old clip from one of my old videos, as I think it's probably the best explanation I could do. The way Discovery in Fortnite works is that it only looks at the playtime of the player, which is how long they play for, and player retention, as in if they keep coming back or not. Because of this, Discovery treats everyone the same. So that means that an entire dev studio that made a masterpiece is put in the same bucket as Skibbity Toilet 1v1. If, let's say, that masterpiece is not designed around long playtime, like let's say an in-game 20-minute adventure that's designed as a one-off experience, that will perform way worse than, let's say, Skibbity Toilet only in Ohio 1v1. To succeed in Fortnite Discovery, you need predatory mechanics. You probably saw those cool UEFN trailers, and you were like, whoa, that's cool, I want to push the limits of Fortnite. Well, don't expect any reward for your efforts, as Fortnite Discovery is flawed to its deepest core. Anyways, thank you, old self. Anyways, there's many opinions out there about why brain rot copy and paste maps like box fights, red versus blues, etc. tend to be popular. One of the biggest reasons people give, and to paraphrase, it's at the end of the day, the players that choose what they want to play. But in my opinion, I think that's completely wrong. Players barely just get to decide what they want to play. There are hundreds of maps on Discover right now, but in the grand scheme of things, majority of maps in Fortnite, nobody has ever seen nor ever will play. Discovery's algorithms is what dictates what the players like, based on rudimentary stats that really don't apply well to everything. Like I said, a one-time experience will always do worse in playtime and retention-wise than a grindfest tycoon with dopamine hits every second, because one is optimized for the algorithm, another is not. The issue here is that you need to optimize at all, not for players, but for the algorithm. Now, I know some people would say the word algorithm can just be replaced by the word audience, but the issue with that is you need a sophisticated algorithm, like YouTube's or something like that, that's extremely accurate at determining what players want. For that to really make sense, Discovery is not a sophisticated algorithm that represents players. It's an easily exploitable algorithm that force feeds players whatever is the most popular, no matter if they like it or not. Okay, back to more problems. Like as I said before, UEFN was pretty buggy and very limited then and still kind of now. Creators out there had big ideas like Cypher BK and the rest who've ever wanted to make a battle royale had to push it back indefinitely because of the limitations. I know a lot of others who were disappointed with the limits too. Over time, UEFN was slowly fixed and updated. It's definitely in a way better spot now than it was a year ago. However, I'm not done. You remember Creative Hubs, right? Yeah, you don't anymore because Epic got rid of that. I also completely forgot to mention Creative Royale existed, but who cares? It got suddenly killed off and announced it was months later as well. Anyways, there was a lot of issues. Fortnite Creative was probably in its worst state ever. After Chapter 5 came out, right after Season OG, and the biggest spike in Fortnite's player base ever, as you know, Fortnite added LEGO, Fortnite, Rocket Racing, and Fortnite Festival, all unique modes to hopefully spark the creative feel back into Fortnite. But with this came horrible UI changes, uppriced cosmetics, and more bugs to UEFN and Creative. You know, like usual. Now, that pretty much sums up where we are today in Fortnite Creative, but there's still one big important thing left to discuss. Fortnite Creative is not all doom and gloom. I swear, contrary to what I've complained about, Fortnite Creative actually has a fairly bright future, despite all the bugs and the declining player base, all of that, etc. Currently, Epic is trying to fix all the issues surrounding Discovery, and they'll be adding a lot of highly requested features in the next year or so. Two of the biggest ones for Discovery will be Personalized Discovery and Follow a Creator. Personalized Discovery will add personalization, as Discovery right now only knows what players won't like in the grand scheme, not the individual. Follow a Creator will finally add the ability to follow your own favorite creator, making it so much easier to form communities and already have present player bases for your games inside Fortnite Creative. These will hopefully improve whatever the hell Discovery is right now. They're also tweaking the Creator Economy 2.0 and the ecosystem to focus on reeling in new players or relapsing old players rather than just playtime, as all of those copy and paste modes do engage the current player base somewhat. It doesn't reel in new players from outside Fortnite, which is reflecting on the current dwindling player count of the game. In the short term to more long term, hopefully UEFN will become more of what everybody originally thought it should be when UEFN was first announced. Hopefully it will be sustainable for creators to create their own games, you know, like the metaverse was supposed to be. Giant global companies and small creators both have the same chance to make it big by creating content within the copyright law. And hopefully Discovery over time will become more refined, less exploitable, and more helpful for, you know, newer old creators getting discovered, as you know, Discovery should probably be doing. Another thing I could see happening in the future, kind of like I said beforehand, is the ecosystem becoming more and more creator focused. Who knows, maybe in 5 years from now, the creator to Epic split of 60-40 could become 20-80, and it'll be more creative content that is the king that dictates the ecosystem of the game. But for that to happen, UEFN will still need to be a lot more stable and have less restrictions on what he can do. Once creators are able to create AAA games, which we are still far from, but we're getting there, that's when I see this huge shift happening. This is the direction Fortnite will go in. Tim Sweeney will stop at no cost to make this metaverse the money machine he wants, even at the expense of old Fortnite magic. You can see this in Donald Mustard leaving the company, mostly because his plans he set up 5 years prior were completed, but also the fact that he was one of the people who didn't really like the direction the game was going in. You can see this on all those interviews he did. And if Tim Sweeney is willing to not listen to one of the biggest faces in Epic Games, arguably his right-hand man, I don't think he'll listen to anybody else. So like it or not, the metaverse is coming, if it's not already here. Soon, we'll see even more IPs making their way into Fortnite Creative, like Fall Guys, as Epic owns Fall Guys, and Disney, as Disney has a big stake in Epic Games for this whole metaverse thing. In about a year or so, we'll see Battle Royale made in UEFN, and hopefully, if Epic can make Battle Royale in UEFN, what's stopping anyone out there from making Battle Royale in UEFN? Or maybe something even bigger and better than Battle Royale, and completely different than Battle Royale. Fortnite Creative is becoming the new Fortnite. Battle Royale, and any other Epic mode really for that matter, will just become another mode inside this new Fortnite. Not Fortnite the game, Fortnite the platform. Anyways, to all you Fortnite creators out there who have been in the community for years, or maybe some of you who haven't even heard of Fortnite Creative before watching this video, all you need to know is this: we will be able to build our own Fortnite. In conclusion of this whole story, from beginning to end, what I want from creative is that original feel where I can create what I want to and have fun doing it and be rewarded by it. I want Fortnite to become something new. It's in Fortnite's DNA to change. I guess the question is how much change until you draw the line? That's really up to all of you to decide. And with that, that's the story of Fortnite Creative. Anyways, the final thing you need to take away from this video is this: use my code, subscribe, and like the video, and watch these videos for more of my stuff. This was probably the biggest video I've ever made, so if you watched this far, hopefully you enjoyed it. That's about it. See you all around.